Okay, I'm making my seat cushions. I've cut the bottom. I forgot to show that, so I'm gonna show me cutting the back. It cuts really easy. I'm just using a serrated kitchen knife. Very nice. I sewed a little bit so I could explain what I'm doing here. There's the first cushion, and then I've got two big pieces for the top and the bottom. Because it's square, I can't sew it like a pillowcase. I have to actually make it 3D for an actual cushion. So I've taken a strip that should go all the way around the edge, and I've sewn it. So I've left a flap for the fourth edge. All right, so I've left that flap. What I'll do now, I've got this sewed on 3 sides for this top or bottom, and then I'll do the same for this, and there'll be one opening to slide, hopefully, slide that cushion in. And then I will have to hand sew the last edge on 3 sides. The fourth side will just be where this one folds over. Now and then some of my sewing supplies would go mysteriously missing. I'm not a great seamstress. I just know the basics, and I tend to cut corners, but I'm just gonna pin it. I also didn't iron it. I'll probably be sorry later. I hate ironing. Pin it and sew it. Okay, I've pinned it. There's little pins in it. Well, that worked out fantastic. Okay, first let's see if I put everything in the right direction. Right now it's inside out. Here's my flap. I'm going to hope that this turns out okay. All right, there's the cover. Now we gotta see if we can get this cushion to fit in it. Just keep working it down. Oh my God, I think this is actually working. It's a little crooked. Okay, there it is. Now all I need to do is pull this over the flap, pull the flap over the open end, and then this I'm going to have to hand sew all of these edges, which is going to be really ugly because that's just my style of sewing. If anybody has a better idea, it'll be too late, never mind. But that's what it should look like when it's done. Okay, I have finished the first cushion. It is standing on end here. It's not perfect. If you zoom in, you zoom in, you can see it's kind of a little puckery. So this is the one I hand stitched, and you can see it's kind of, you know, rougher or whatever, but this side can just go against, what's that? The side can just go against the wall. There'll be 2 choices, so I can keep turning it. I had already cut the 2 big pieces. So I went ahead and cut the strip for this one too, and I'm gonna do it the same way, but hindsight being 20/20, it probably would have been smart for me to cut one big piece that wrapped on all 4 sides and did, you know, just the smaller ends as some of the seams. When I got to a corner, I would just put the needle down into the fabric, lift up the presser foot, turn the fabric at a 90-degree angle, put that presser foot back down, and then just keep sewing. All right, cushion number 2. This is the case for it. You can see I sewed it inside out. Okay, for the second cushion, I feel like I didn't cut the cushion quite as accurately, and I didn't sew quite as well as I did on the first one, because I think I was going slower. So let's just see if this works. Okay, errors were made. For this piece that goes along the edge, I measured it wrong, and I'm short about 2 inches here. So this is the part where I was going to hand sew on 3 sides, and instead what I'm going to do to fix it is I am going to cut it here, and I will cut a piece that fits across the whole top and hand sew all 4 sides. So now I need to cut my third piece. My third and last cushion for this chair is going to be 6 inches, and it's going to be a single armrest. It's going to be 6 inches. That's what I'm going to measure out now, and then I'm going to cut this foam. This is my cushion. I felt like I was sewing these cushions forever, but I was pretty happy with the way they turned out, and I liked being able to choose my own material. I'll show you how the finished product looked at the end of this video, and now I'm going to show you how I did my window covers. So here is the start of my next project. I'm still in a planning out phase, but I think I have a path forward. So I was just looking at some videos on YouTube, and Steve and Audra had some really good tips and tricks on their channel. Audra was doing some window coverings, a lot of different sewing projects or non-sewing projects even. So this is the material I have for the inside. And what I'm planning on doing is I've cut some Reflectix. I use the Reflectix, I cut it on the windows to make sure, like I was measuring while I was out there, so they're here's my other one, so you can see what I was doing better. This is driver, rear, and this side is to the fabric. And the reason that's important is because there's a handle that sticks out. So I need to leave a hole or sew a hole so that it can fit over that. So my original plan, was to have this side says to the fabric, because I was going to somehow affix this directly to the fabric. But after watching the video on Steve and Audra's channel, a much better idea is I'm going to get some darker material that will face out. I've left an edge around here anyway. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the outside material and this facing in material with this edging. And I'm also going to stop every now and then and put magnets in the edging, probably 2 on each side and 2 on the top and the bottom. And I will sew 3 sides, slide this Reflectix in instead of affixing it anywhere, and then I will just sew that 4th side shut, and I should have a great little window cover. So my backing canes that I'm going to use on the windows. So this is a tablecloth. It was cheaper than getting a flat sheet, and it was a little longer, so it's going to have more material in it. It's silver, a little maybe lighter than I thought it would be, but I think this will be just fine. Hi, my little helper. You want to see what I'm doing? Okay, you're not much help. All right, goodbye. So I'm going to take this template that I made from my Reflectix template. So it's got the rounded corners, and I'm going to lay it on top of this. I'm going to cut it for the backing, and then I'm going to start sewing the 3 sides. I also got magnets. these little magnets in here. I think there's 48. So I'm going to try to get those into the pocket of this edging. I'll actually be kind of surprised if it works. And one of the videos I watched that actually inspired me the most, Audra actually didn't, I don't know if she sewed anything. She might have sewed some stuff, but she used Stitch Witchery and also I think some glues, and looked great and worked great. So you don't have to sew this. If you do want to sew and you don't have a sewing machine or know how to sew, I think that a lot of places like Joann's and Michael's and stuff have sewing classes you can take. They might even have sewing machines you can borrow, I'm not sure. But I know there's also usually a lot of like meetups for like stitch and bitch kind of sessions. So you might even find people in your area that have sewing projects and maybe have a sewing machine you can use. The important thing is there's no one right way. Just do what feels right to you. Try it. If it doesn't work, mine might not. See what you can try for a second option. Okay, I watched a little tutorial on YouTube and it showed the two materials being sewn together first and then putting the edging around it second, which is fine because I can work in the magnets easier that way. And it showed the this just being curved, like curving around as she sewed it. So I'm going to try it. Okay, what I have right now is essentially a very large pocket and it has no edging on it yet. I've sewn it on three sides. So there's the opening, and I'm going to make sure that my Reflectix fits in here. So let's find out. Okay. It's inside there. So never mind my crooked seams, but what I'm doing is I am putting in like a pocket, and then I will slide the magnet in there, and then I'll just stitch this part shut later because I didn't want to deal with the magnet being underneath the needle. And so here I am starting to put in another little pocket right here. This edging I'm using is called quilting edging, and where it fits over the edges of the material here, it has an extra fold. So it actually has kind of like double tape on each side. So where I'm sewing, it's actually going through 2 layers of edging, 2 layers of material, and then 2 layers of edging, which doesn't really matter, but I really liked it because I didn't have to iron this. I could just put it right on with using that middle fold. And if anyone ever comes in your van and says, oh my, what crooked seams, toss them out. Toss them out of your van. Once I had the 3 sides on, I just slid the magnets into the pockets I'd sewn in. And then I will just put a couple stitches right here to keep it in place. And I've got 3/4 of the edging on this. I'm going to, once I get the magnet stitched in, I'll put the Reflectix inside, and I will finish this edge with 2 more magnet pockets. Okay, so I have my magnets inside here. This is the tiny one that I did, and I'm going to start out. I've got my thread with its little knot at the end. Then I don't want my knot on the outside, so I'm going to put the needle underneath first to pull my knot in. And these stitches are not going to be like great stitches. I hope you can see this. Then I'm just going to kind of go all the way through a few times. By the time I got to the next window coverings, I was really over doing any hand sewing. So I went ahead and tried sewing with the sewing machine across that magnet opening. And even though the magnet did try to like stick to the metal a little bit when I was first putting it up there, it did work. And so don't try to hand sew these unless you really, really want to. You can actually use the sewing machine and just do a quick line across that opening. Okay, this is what it looks like. There's the Reflectix inside and it has the edging on. It does not have a hole. I'm gonna see if it will fit over the handle of the window slider without putting it in. Hopefully this will work. We're gonna find out together if it works. Oh, it's a little poofy, but it sticks and the handle is covered. That is awesome. So I don't have to cut holes at all. Okay, the last time I kind of held this edging as I sewed, but this time I pinned it down because last time the back escaped a little and I had to resew a section. So I'm doing it the smart way, hopefully. The other thing I'm doing differently on this one is the little pockets where I put the magnets. On the first one, I was looking at the front and not thinking about it, so I slid the magnets in the front where they have more material in between where they need, like between where the metal's gonna go, because this is the side that's gonna stick. So on the second one, I've put them in the back of this edging, so they will be able to stick even better. Okay, now I'm doing the long pieces for the slider and the window by where the kitchen's gonna be. And I ran out of material that was big enough, so I've actually just kind of lined up another piece and I've stitched it together. So it's a little bit Frankenstein-y, but with that kind of pattern, it's not gonna be super obvious. Okay, I'm on my last sewing project for now, and this is for the Maxx Air fan to cover it up if I want to block the light, and also if I want to keep it insulated from heat or cold. I've cut my material and I've pinned it. I left plenty of room for sewing it together and putting the edging on. The first edging I used was quilt edging, so it was double and I didn't have to do any ironing. I can't remember if I mentioned this before. I ran out when I went back. I had to get this regular edging and I had to unfold it and iron it, which I'm gonna have to do more of because I've got one more package and that isn't quite enough. Bummer. It might be a little floppy on the edges. My window coverings were too, but it should work anyway. Yeah, that's gonna be great. It fits great. Minimal escaping of air, and it just sticks right up in there. The last step for my seat box was to add hinges for the lid. I marked where I wanted the holes, and then I pre-drilled them. I started the screws by hand because it was easier for me to hold the hinge on and get it started that way, but then I went to the power drill to screw it the rest of the way in. All right, moment of truth. It opens. I used the non-mortise door hinge so that I wouldn't need to have a big gap and that it would stay flush like this. Now for the big reveal. All right, this is wrapping up the sewing portion, which I found extremely tedious. I am happy with the results though, so I'm going to show you what I did and show you some of my lessons learned. In the disarray, we have a lot of projects going on at once, the electric being the big one. So here is what it will look like. So I've got my put little magnets in the edging here. Looks like I could use them in the corners. I put them on the top, bottom, and sides, but it's not bad. I mean, it's covered up. I'll show you what it looks like from the outside as well. All the windows have pretty much the same tinting, and this is what it looks like with the window covers on. I mean, really, it's just going to be no sign that anyone's in there. I've got my back window covers. I have my kitchen area window covers. And then the other major project, oh, this was a little one. This is my fan cover. And then there's my chair. And you can see that it's got some issues. First of all, I very carefully measured how tall it should be, but I did get a little crazy with the cushion. It will squish down, but what I didn't take into account was adding a 1/2 inch for the lid and the base. That's another inch on that chair that I didn't need. The other thing I did was I measured, obviously, the armrest for the base cushion, but not taking into account the width of the backrest. Now, when this goes in, it will go right where it's sitting, but the back of this will go up against the bed where the arm currently is. So here's me trying it for the first time. My feet do not touch the floor, which is one of the things I was trying to get. Looks like I've got about 3 inches there. I can swing my feet. If I need to use something, I can use this. But this is going to be really versatile because I can put this armrest here, or I can use it for my feet, or I can use it for lumbar support. We can use it for another cushion. If I want another cushion in the bed, I can make my back support taller. So I don't mind. I might cut it down. I think if I cut the top off and cut it down, I can just fold this, put another piece over it, make it shorter so it fits up against here without sticking over. But yeah, other than that, that's probably my biggest mistake as far as measuring and stuff. All in all, I am pretty happy with my window coverings and my chair.